What's up everybody, I'm Ryan and I'm lazy and stupid, but so are you, and that's okay because my goal is to make you less lazy and less stupid with each passing day. And today we're going to step offline for a little bit and we're going to talk about budgeting. Don't worry, I'll try to make it as entertaining and informative as possible. Alright, so before we get started, I do need to throw out a disclaimer. I don't have any degrees or certifications in finance or financial planning, but what I will say is that about 7 or 8 years ago, I was pretty broke. And during that time, I did spend a lot of time studying finance and learning about how I can better manage my finances. And that has led me to develop this spreadsheet, this system, which over time has allowed me to buy a nice house and support my family. So hopefully that'll convince you to stick around and listen to what I have to say, because so far it's worked for me. Hopefully it'll work for you too. Alright, so as we go along, if you like what you see, or maybe if you're a little bit confused, I will be offering a free sort of entry-level spreadsheet that you'll be able to download. The download link will be in the description below. Or if you want a little bit more of a detailed analysis of your financial situation, I will be offering the template that we're going to be going through today for purchase, and I'll give you more details about that later. So, what is a budget? Well, a budget essentially is a way to compare your expenses to your income in order to get a better understanding of your financial situation. Think of it kind of like a financial snapshot. And it comes in real handy too for financial planning. Let's say you want to save for a vacation. You can use a budget to determine how much you're able to set aside in order to save up for that vacation. Or maybe you want to spend a little bit more money on entertainment. You can use a budget to adjust your spending in certain areas in order to accommodate that additional cost. Alright, so that's what a budget is. Let's jump right in now and start going over the template. Alright, so here we are in the budget spreadsheet, and just real quickly I'll kind of scroll through this to see, give you an example of what it looks like. Now there are 4 sections to this budget. The first is the income section up at the top here, and that's pretty straightforward. Income section has to do with how much you get paid. How much money do you have coming in? So you would enter those values there. Down below that we have the expenses section, and then there are 2 parts to the expenses section. There are fixed expenses here, and there are miscellaneous expenses there. I will go over more specifically what those are in a little bit. Going down even further, we have the savings and allowances section. These are things like, if you have a savings account that you're contributing to, maybe an IRA, maybe you give yourself a little bit of allowance every time you get paid, something like that, you would enter those values here. And at the very bottom we have the income less expenses section, and this just basically tells you how much income you have left over after you've factored in all of your expenses and your savings. Also included in the budget spreadsheet is this little calculator tab at the bottom here, and that's what that looks like. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what that is and how to use it in a little bit. Now there are a couple bits of information that you need to know about using the spreadsheet. The first being that columns A and B, these are the only columns that you will enter or change any information in. And the reason being is that columns D through N, that's where all the information is, that's where all the numbers are calculated. Basically all these cells contain formulas of some kind, and if you update or modify or change those formulas, then the data is not going to be correct. So you want to make sure that you don't touch anything in these cells and only change or edit any information in columns A and B. Alright, another helpful thing I'd like to point out about the spreadsheet is all these little cells with the red triangles in the corner. Basically, anytime you see that, that means that you can hover over that cell to get some more information. So for example, let's say you don't know what gross income is. All you have to do, take your mouse, hover over that, and it'll tell you gross income is your income prior to any taxes or deductions. So that way, if you're going through the spreadsheet and you're trying to fill it out and you're not sure what to put in a particular cell, you can always hover any of those cells with the red triangle and get a little bit better understanding of what you're supposed to enter in those cells. Another bit of helpful information when it comes to filling out the spreadsheet is that the income section, all calculations that you're going to enter in this section are going to be based on a yearly calculation. Most people, or at least people who are salary, get paid over the course of a year. Obviously there are plenty of people out there who get paid hourly, who get paid every week or every other week. And I have a way to help you calculate how much you make over the course of a year if you fit into that latter category. But in this case, we want to make sure that we're only entering values based on a yearly calculation. For the rest of the spreadsheet, however, that's different. Expenses, because let's say for example your mortgage or your car payment, those are typically due on a monthly basis. Those are going to be based on a monthly calculation. The same is going to go for the savings and allowances section towards the bottom. All right, so let's jump right in and start entering some values into the spreadsheet. Now, for starters, we'll start with the income section here. And what you can do, the first thing you want to do is start to title these sort of subsections here. So for example, I might want to title this Ryan's income. Now the reason there's multiple income sections is, if you're married, you may have multiple incomes in your household. In this case, I'm just going to put my income here. And let's say, for example, I make $50,000 a year. Now all you have to do is go to this cell, and that's gross income, by the way. Let's say, you enter it into that cell there, and you hit enter. You'll notice right away that these values all update. What this is telling you is that on a weekly basis, you make $961.54. Bi-weekly, $1,923. Monthly, 6 years, yearly, etc. So it's a good breakdown of how you make over certain intervals throughout the course of a year. Next thing you want to do is go down and fill out this cell here next to less taxes and fees. So to fill this out, you want to look at your paycheck, and you want to look at what your gross pay is, and you want to look at your net income, and you want to figure out roughly a percentage, the percentage difference between those two. So it's usually pretty easy to figure out. Just take your net income divided by your gross income, and that'll give you a rough percentage there. So in a lot of cases, you're probably having 18 to 20% taken out of your paycheck at any time. I'll just go ahead and put 18% here. Now as you do that, you'll notice that the values in these cells update as well, and as a result, the values in these cells update. So over the course of a year, you may be making $50,000, but because you're having 18% taken out of each of your checks, then that's about $9,000 over the course of the year, which means that your net income, in other words, the money that you take home at the end of the day, is going to be $41,000. Now this less other deductions section is the last part you need to fill out. Let's say you have an IRA that you contribute to automatically from your paycheck each pay period. You'll want to enter what that amount is here. And now remember, this is based on a yearly calculation. So let's say if you get paid every 2 weeks and it's $50 that you deduct from your paycheck, you want to figure out what that is over the course of the year. And to do that, we'll go to the calculator tab I mentioned earlier. So click over here. Now you have your yearly calculator and your monthly calculator. This calculator is going to help you when it comes to calculating. Let's say again, if you get paid every 2 weeks, you're not sure what your yearly salary is, you can use the yearly calculator to figure that out. But in this case, we're trying to figure out if I have $50 deducted from my paycheck every 2 weeks, how much is that going to be over the course of the year? So to figure that out, we're going to go to the yearly calculator, and the $50 deduction is bi-weekly. So we're going to type in $50 here, hit enter, and you can see that that's $1,300 over the course of the year. So now all we have to do is go back to the budget spreadsheet, and in this section type 1,300, and again those values update here. Now as we scroll down to the bottom of the income section, you see these yellow sections, and these basically indicate totals. So your total gross income is $50,000, which we entered at the very beginning. And when you factor in taxes and deductions, at the end of the year, you're taking home $39,700. All right, so you can go through and fill out these other income sections as well if you have additional household incomes, or if you, let's say this is your only income and you don't want to see the rest of these, all you have to do is highlight the extra income sections, and then you can right-click and say, go to hide. And that's going to, it doesn't delete them, but it hides them so that you don't have to worry about seeing them. So now you only see the income that you're concerned about here. Alright, so next we're going to go down to the expenses section. And we're going to start here with fixed expenses. What are fixed expenses? Well, let's hover over the fixed expenses cell and find out. Fixed expenses are expenses that are recurring, such as your energy bill, gas, water, mortgage, cell phone, cable, etc. These are expenses that you know are coming every month regardless. To complete this section, what you're going to do here is you're going to edit the titles in column B to better illustrate what the expense is. So for example, we'll type in a few here. Mortgage, car payment. I'm just going to lump utilities into one. You might want to break them out into energy, power, energy, water, gas, etc. Cell phone, cable, and for now we'll start there. There's obviously more fixed expenses that you'll have, but we'll just stop there for now. And then we're going to go back and start entering the amounts for these. So let's say your mortgage every month is $900. Maybe your car payment is $350. Utilities altogether, let's say it's $200. Let's say your cell phone bill is $150 and cable bill is $100. And just like with the income section, you'll notice that all these values over here start to update. And you can tell exactly how much you're paying on the weekly basis, bi-weekly, etc. for each of those different utilities. It gives you kind of an interesting picture of how much money you're spending over the course of a year. Another thing to point out is these little percentage columns over here on the right. These will basically tell you how much a particular expense accounts for all of your expenses combined. So for example, if we hover over this here, it says these values indicate the percentage of total fixed expenses. So in other words, your mortgage expense here accounts for 52.9% of your total for your fixed expenses. And you can see how much your total for fixed expenses is by scrolling down to the bottom here, $20,400 in this case. All right, so now let's scroll down to the miscellaneous expenses section. These are expenses that they're not necessarily recurring, but you're still gonna have them. And these could include things like gasoline, groceries, pet supplies, shopping, maybe you wanna factor in some entertainment budget, you put that in here as well. To do that, you're going to do the same exact thing as you would for the fixed expenses. Maybe you'll put gasoline here, maybe you'll put entertainment there, shopping, groceries, and pets. Let's assume that those are your main miscellaneous expenses. You could even put other if you want to give yourself a little padding or something like that. And gasoline, let's say that, and again, these are over the course of a month, so let's say over the course of a month you are spending $120 in gas. On entertainment, maybe you want to spend $500 in entertainment over the course of the month. Shopping, let's say the same, $500. Groceries, maybe $400 over the course of a month. Pets, maybe you like your pets, you're spending $100 a month. And other, we'll just put $300 there. Then you can scroll down to see exactly how much you are spending in your miscellaneous expenses. $23,040 over the course of the year. Then what you can do is look here in this total all expenses, and this is basically going to total up all your miscellaneous and all your fixed expenses and give you those totals here. So now once you've filled out your income and your expenses sections, it may be a good idea to scroll down to the very bottom and take a look at what your financial situation is at this point. Now you'll notice that the values in these two rows here are the same, and that's only because we haven't entered anything in the savings and allowances section just yet. So your income less your fixed expenses over the course of the year, you have $19,300 left over. However, when you scroll down and you factor in your miscellaneous expenses and your fixed expenses, you're in the negative. And this means that you need to do some adjusting with how you're spending. And to do that, you can go up here and say, well, maybe I don't need to spend so much on entertainment over the course of the year. And maybe I don't need to do as much shopping over the course of the month. Groceries, I could probably cut back a little bit, not go to Whole Foods so much. I love my pets, but maybe I can spend a few bucks less on them over the course of a month. And maybe I'm going to cut this value in half here. And then you can adjust those, and you scroll down to the bottom. Oh, look at that. Now you're in the positive again. Now you can take this value and say, all right, well, I've got $1,900 that I can utilize and put some money into savings. So that's what we're going to go to the savings and allowance section for. So let's say you've got a vacation account. Maybe you want to save it for a vacation to take at the end of the year. And maybe you've got a general savings account that you just want to put some money in for a rainy day or for an emergency. And for right now, we'll just leave those two sections there. So let's say, again, this is based on a monthly calculation. Over the course of a month, you want to try to save at least $100 towards your vacation. Hit $100 there. And for savings, maybe you want to do the same. Put $100 there. Uh-oh, you're negative $500 now. So we're going to go back and we're going to trim back your savings to $50. All right, so now when you look at this section here, you can say that when you factor in all the spending that you have here, at the end of the year, you're going to have $100 left over. You may be cutting it close with that. You're not leaving yourself much wiggle room for additional expenses. But the good news is that if you stick to this budget and you spend within your limits here, at the end of the year, you're going to have a little bit of money left over. All right, so congratulations if you've stuck with me this long. I hope I didn't confuse you too much. But at the end of the day, it really is a simple budget spreadsheet to use. It may just take a little bit of time to get in there and really understand it and fill it out. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, you can download the exact template that I went over in this episode, which also comes with a tip sheet. Think of it kind of as a quick reference guide for only $7. The link to download the full template and the tip sheet will be included in the description below. If you do decide to download the full template and you have questions as you go along, you can always feel free to reach out to me on social media or by email at ryan@lazyandstupid.com. But again, if you'd rather just download the free template that's also available, which will really just give you a monthly breakdown of all your expenses and income, that link will be available in the description below as well. Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for sticking with me. I apologize I haven't been around for a while, but things have just been a little bit crazy. I'm going to do my best to try to put up some more videos more frequently going forward. But until then, get off your lazy ass and go do something awesome. We'll see you next time.